Hi, everybody. Good day to see everyone, and thank you so much for watching our talk today. So please join us and welcome Dr. Susie Mitchell. She's very well known for leadership development. And today, with a lot of things that we're going through, we had such a nice, encouraging word from her and make us feel fantastic. So thank you so much, Dr. Susie, for spending your time and such a privilege for us to have you here and connecting virtually. Would you like to please share with us a bit about your work and your passion? And we would love to hear a lot from you.
First of all, Vivian and Hart, I'm honoured to be invited to your, virtual event. So the feeling is reciprocal. It's an honour to be asked and a blessing because you are helping connect people all around the world. And I think in the world that we've seen for the last 2 or 3 years, people are lonely, people have challenging times. And for you to do this is to really connect people to feel better about themselves and to embrace uncertainty and to give them some inspiration and resources to really help them on their journey. So kudos to you two too.
Thank
Yes,
you.
my journey. You asked me to share my journey. Yes, I do teach people about leadership and empowerment, but it starts with us. We have to be the first student of life, if you like. And my history is, as we've just had a discussion off camera then, but I was born in Malaysia. So I have a huge drawing and passion to the Far East, to Asia, to that side of the world, I don't know how I ended up in the UK, in England. It's not my happy place. My happy place is the Far East, So as I get older, I'm sure I will go and spend more time where I grew up as a child. So I had an amazing childhood, freedom. I grew up on a rubber plantation in the middle of the jungle and, no shoes on my feet and having the freedom of a child to really be an adventurer and explore, which I believe I did. And then because of how British people were then, the education wasn't very good in Malaya at the time. So my parents, even though they didn't have a lot of money, managed to save some money and sent me to boarding school in Wales, in the UK, because one of my grandmothers lived there. So I was sent away to boarding school and only saw my parents twice a year. So anybody listening on this call who have got children, it must have, and it was, I've heard stories since that it was very hard to be away from a child from the age of 9 to be sent to school. But I think what that taught me was independence. I had to stand up for my own 2 feet. I had to learn to be resilient. I had to learn all those challenges of being alone, if you like, even though I was in a school with other people. It teaches you, in my opinion, to grow up quicker than being in a full family environment on a day-to-day basis. So I think that to me is a gift. I saw it as a blessing. And my brother was sent away at 7. So he should never have gone away from the mother. He hated it. He had a very bad experience, and really changed his mindset for many, many years before I could work with him, because I then learned the tools and the techniques to help him. But he had a completely different experience. And we all have different experiences in life. We all do, because it's how we see the world. And, you asked me to come and speak, and we all see challenges and problems in so many different ways. But we also see happiness in very different ways. So I had a great childhood, very blessed. And then I came to a crossroads when I left my education. Where do I go? And in those days, because I'm quite a bit older than you guys, age is, in my opinion, just a number. I think I'm 30 in a 60-year-old body, but that's how life is. I then had a crossroads. What do I do? And I had one opportunity to go and live in Hong Kong. I turned that down, but because the opportunity did not feel right at the time. I have a lot of grace with my feelings in my body. I believe I'm spiritual and I'm guided by a lot of things. And I chose to stay in London, and I went to be a nurse. So people can relate to that profession of nursing. And I think that's where I got my love of people. When you are a nurse, and you guys have just nodded, when when I was a nurse, you see all walks of life. You see the pain, you see suffering physically and mentally. But I think that helped me to understand my purpose in life. My purpose is to help people. And I believe I was put on this planet to help people. You know, so that was where I got my grounding of wanting to help people. And I nursed for 4 years, I qualified, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But also I had a huge burning need to want to do more. I wanted to do bigger things. I had a bigger vision to help more people. So I knew I had to get out of nursing because it's quite limited working in one hospital. I felt I needed to grow and become more. And I worked for various different companies over a 15, 20-year period of sales, training. I learned about coaching way before coaching and mentoring came in. So I was one of the first people in the field to embrace that into the environment that I was working with, the organizations. So I became a trainer, a coach, a mentor, and I did that in many arenas for quite a few companies. And then about 25 years ago, I said, I've got to do this for myself. I don't want to be working for somebody else. I think you two are on that similar journey. I got to go even bigger. I want to help more people than just stay in those organizations. And I started my own company with 0 clients. I took that leap of faith, that trust, that belief, and knowing that I'm guided by whatever our beliefs are. And I made the leap of faith. And I've never looked back. I have never looked back. I am very blessed and very honored to have clients all around the world, locally, internationally, Australia, New Zealand, America, everywhere. And I don't say that lightly. I've worked on building my platform, building my knowledge, building my experience. I never did my PhD till I was in my 40s. You know, because I love learning. That was in neurology and psychology, and I did that in America because I was living in America at the time. So I just love learning. I love understanding how the human brain thinks and how we act on the field of personal and self-development as well as business development, I suppose. So that's the arena that I choose to play in, to work in, to help people. So the helping people is a thread throughout my life. And about 28 years ago, I had the blessing of working with somebody called Tony Robbins. I don't know whether you know who Tony Robbins is, one of the biggest, coaches in America. So I went through his programs and I'm now one of his top trainers internationally. So I worked with Tony, I've worked with Robin Sharma, if you know who he is, Brené Brown, I've done some work, part of her work side. So I don't just study one person, I like to study lots of people. I like variety. That's one of my driving human needs is variety. I would get bored if I'm doing same client over and over again or same customer. So I believe we're all on this path to those of us who listen to your podcast here through your medium are people who want to develop themselves, people who want to get even better at what they do, because I have a belief that we start good and we get even better. None of us have bad things inside of us. Bad things can happen to us, challenging times can happen to us, but we can learn and we can grow and we can understand how we can get even better. And I explain to a lot of the people when I do big company trainings and things that business is a spiritual journey. And some people say to me, some people look at me as if to think she's a bit woo-woo and are you religious? Do you believe in God? And I say, it doesn't matter what your faith is. It does not matter. But what I mean by a spiritual journey is it's a growth journey. It is us helping us to become and be who we need to be in this life through this transition. Because life is short, and I think we need to take all the lessons, all the blessings, all the challenges and embrace them. And, the quicker we learn and grow and get over those challenges and move on, we can have a more joyous life, a more courageous life, etc., etc. So I hope that's put together a little bit of my background for you.
Wow. What a fascinating background. Thank you so much for that introduction. It would surprise us that you born in Malaysia when you first sharing about that because there's nowhere that in the Google engine that we could find that information now. And thank you for sharing your struggles at the age of 9 when you sent to Wales to study and only visiting your parents twice in a year. And we do have the same similar experience because Vivian and I sent our oldest daughters to America 2.5 years ago, and because of the COVID situation, borders locking down, is locked, so we're not able to see her for 2.5 years, and then we are about to see her in 2 months' time. We bought the ticket already, and every single night we would talk about that. Then every conversation now is all about seeing each other, and then so we. Personally, I also went to America when I was, double your age back then. But it wasn't a choice that I wanted. So I kind of like your brother. It wasn't very happy at the beginning, and then I got a lot of struggle. But that's life is. So in struggle we try, we learn, we adapt, and then we move on. We have to grow from adversity, right? So thank you for sharing your story from your childhood up until this now. There will be time, several points of your time we're gonna come back in that journey. But I want to start first when you were in Malaysia, when you were before you went to UK. When you was a young little girl, what did you envision yourself one day you're gonna become, Dr. Susie?
Great question, Harv. Great question. It's really interesting. Even though I believe in vision and I believe in mapping out your life, I really only learned those things as I got older. I think what I had the privilege to be when I was living in Malaysia is I could live in the present. As a child, I think children have more of that wonder and being in the moment. And I think as we get older, as adults, we lose it. We lose that. We do too much planning, too much thinking, too much, all of that. And I think the great thing about living in Malaysia then was I just was allowed to be a child, have fun. And I went back once a year on holidays when I was living in Wales. And I went back and I was able just to be with my friends and share all our experiences. So I think right up to the age of 18, when I physically did not go back to Malaysia, my parents lived there for nearly 50 years. So they were there a long, long time. But I left about the age of 18 to start my, career and my journey when I set into London nursing, etc. So I'm just very grateful that I had that freedom to be a child. I think that was my learning there. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense for me, and I think that's a lot of kids also had the same, be present, enjoy life the moment too, and there's another point in your life that interesting to us when you working as a nurse, right? And then you said that you started to find your passion of life. What happened back then? Because there's a lot of nurses out there. We have million nurses on earth, right? And then the nurse, Dr. Susie, found your passion back then when you working in the hospital or clinic, and you found your own passion of helping people. What happened then?
Again, I think it's a process. I think it was my realization as I did my nursing duties day to day for 4 years before I left nursing. I think it was when you see humans at their absolute most vulnerable situation and you can make a small difference, whether it's rubbing their shoulders, whether it's sitting on a bed listening and not doing any talking. I believe that I got the qualities that I use now in my life and in my life's journey. The starting point, I got them then. I knew that I had a passion for helping people. That must have come through my nursing to start with. I didn't realize I had it till I'd done reflection. I think reflection is very important for people to know where we learn our qualities, to know where, like you just said, where the seed is formulated to what started us on our journey. I agree with you, you know, but when I look back now and reflection is so important, and I help my clients to do that, and it shapes us. Reflection shapes us, molds us, conditions us. Where did our beliefs come from? It comes back from our childhood and our growth. But that was this passion that you never realized, I didn't know I had until I reflected. So my passion started, what I say to myself and to people, with a lowercase p, like on a keyboard, lowercase p, and it became a capital P as I grew through my life. So that was a catalyst. Make sense?
Makes sense for me. So, you know, in the 4 years that you've been doing the nursing work, right? Since when you starting to realize the love for developing others and helping others? Since when? From year 1 to year 4?
More in year 4. More in year 4, I was getting what I would call restless. I'd done nursing for 4 years. I was in this one train track in that, and I knew there was more out there that I could do. Don't ask me why or how. You know, it's a knowing. It's just, you've got to be more, whether you're guided, whatever your beliefs are, you know, but I just knew there was more to do, more to give, more to have, to help people. So I was getting restless. So I guess, to answer your question, the first sign is, how did I know? It was the feeling and the emotion of restlessness. And funny enough, I've just taken a call from a friend of mine that I used to help and work with in a company a few years back, 7 years ago. He's just called me and said to me, you know, I'm ready for a change in my life because I've lost my passion. I've lost what I really want to do and my purpose. And I think that was the beginning of mine. I'd done what I needed to do nursing. I got restless, and I think I knew there was something bigger that I can contribute with.
Wow. I need to ask you one bizarre question, because this is the promise that I make to my speaking coach. Her name is Dale Stevens, and she's from Australia, and she told me that every conversation asks a bizarre question, so that I would love to know the day, on a regular day back then, when you just realized there's something that burning desire inside of you for doing something different than being just a nurse, right? What was the day look like?
That's interesting. So I've got to reflect back to that and put myself in that moment. I know probably where I was. Yes, I know where I was. I was at a friend's house. I was at a friend's house, and the decision came through me. I was reading a newspaper. And I saw an advertisement for this sales and marketing company. And it talked to me. It talked to me and said, this is what I need to do. So that, you know, Tony Robbins says, and it's such a powerful statement, in the moment our decisions are made, our destiny is shaped.
Our destiny is shaped. Wow.
Yeah, in the moment our decisions are made, any decision, our destiny is shaped. And I knew, as you asked me that, what you call bizarre question, I knew then I had to make that leap to something for me and to help others, you know? So I knew, I guess when I read that paper, something stood out at me, something resonated with me, and I applied for that job and I got the job.
Interesting. I think that's the calling, and you respond to that calling, and that in our belief, that's how we believe, and I think it's a good response to the right kind of calling, and it's shaping the future also, right? Dr. Susie, you know, when there's a lot of people get into the space of training and development too, but then you make an outstanding career out of that, you know. What was it, you know, if you look back from, you know, 28 years, you know, not 28, you know, 25 years where you start your company, there were times that you do the training, the development before, right? So what makes your journey different from the general people out there who get into this space?
That's a great observation that you've done with that heart. I truly believe why we've got more people coming into this development space is because the world is in a different conscious state of awareness in the last 20 years.
Mm.
You know, in evolution and the revolution and the industrial and the technology is coming. I think the world, even though we've been in the virtual world for the last 2 years because of COVID, I think the world has helped us. It's moved into a consciously high level with emotional intelligence and everything, and we want to connect more.
Mm.
So therefore, if we want to connect more, for us to connect more to other human beings, there has to be, this is my research head on and everything, there has to be a want for more knowledge, for more learning, for more growth, and therefore it pulls us, or the calling, into those arenas to learn more about who we are, number one.
Okay.
And number two, once we learn that, we almost feel compelled to go and share it or help others. So even though I had, you know, a caring profession like nursing, when I got into the self-development world and the learning world of understanding how the brain works and emotions and how feelings and humans work, it's almost with me, and I know it's with, because I've spoken to so many people, it's a compelling reason that you have to find out more, know more, grow more. So I think that's why it's attracting a lot of people into that space. Now, you and I know there can be good coaches, there can be good leaderships, there can be good people that teach, train, mentor, whatever, but there can also be average people that can teach, train. And that's the personal pull. I think when somebody engages a coach, or somebody wants a leadership trainer, or somebody wants to just reach out to somebody, like we see things on social media, is that a good course to go on? Is that a good learning to learn? The values come through, even on a social media post. I think people seek out the right feeling and the right vibrational level of who they should be working with. That's how we got together, and we found out before we recorded this call that we had similar values.
Yeah.
See, it works.
Yeah, thank you so much. Dr. Susie. Oh, sorry, Vivian, please go ahead.
Yeah, maybe I just gonna jump in a bit, because I'm very curious. During the turning time of your life when you were 9 and you moved to a boarding school in UK, so I think there's gonna be a day up and down, and something of changes the environment. And a lot of us right now, we also having our kids going to international school, and during the challenge time, and you may have a lot that experience too. What kind of courage and inspirations keep you on going, and the strength that you found within yourself, not to turn the adversity into something worse, but even make it more beautiful, more sympathy, and more loving and more caring? What is your journey back then to find that courage and to find that strength within, Dr. Sushi?
Is it just one? You sent your one daughter away to America, you said?
Yes,
One
but
for now.
our friends too. We have some group of people. We also have children overseas study, and constantly as parents, we so worry about their growing up mentality, and then maybe they are feeling something different. But as you have that experience, would you please share with us?
Yes, I will do it, and that's a great question to ask. And I think even though it's been hard for you, I think it's one of the biggest gifts you can give your daughter, because she is going to learn what I learned, hopefully, resilience. Through all the challenging times, she has to make some informative decisions, right or wrong, good or bad, whatever it is, but she will learn through it. And I think it will teach her culturally all the life lessons that we've already talked about, traveling and what you learn and how you grow. And I believe whoever we are on this planet, whatever problems or challenges that come to us, as long as we learn the lessons and ask ourselves reflective questions, saying, I went through a horrendous divorce many, many years ago. I have one son who's 34, and even through my real adversity, my real challenging time, I don't know where I learned this from, but I always said, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? Through all my challenges, I guess that's the learning side, that I've always done the learning, career, but I've had to become my first student. I've had to become my first client, and your daughter will feel the same, because I had to learn to be resilient. I had to learn to stand on my own 2 feet. I had to learn to make decisions, even from 9, you know, because you are with such a mix of people, and some of those memories have stayed with me, but I just know that it helped shape me to who I became in the future. I know that if I could speak to my younger self, and I would say this about your daughter, just say embrace it. Embrace the good, the bad, the ugly, the challenges, the highs, the lows. Embrace it, because when you get further on into our middle years, you can reflect back, what did I learn from there? How did I have so much fun? How did I have what pain taught me a life's lesson? So does that help, Vivian?
That is wonderful, Dr. Susie. We will share with her this video, and she would love to hear that and find her encouragement there. Thank you so much.
Definitely. What's her name?
Her name is Jackie.
Jackie.
She changed her name to Jackie.
We named her Valerie, and then times go by, and I think last year she asked for our decisions that she would like to change her name to Jackie.
Oh.
And yeah.
What's her given name? What's the Vietnamese name?
It's a bit hard to pronounce. It's Kimpin.
Kimpin. Okay, nice. Nice though. It's still nice.
But in Vietnamese means peace, so we want her to have peace in her life. Dr. Susie, I like to bring you further into the moment that you start your company with 0 client, okay? And that's a very brave, act that you did, because why I asked, why I'm curious about this is a lot of my friends who are very successful in organizations and going to very high level in the corporate ladders, and when we had beers together, and then a lot of them say that they would always wanted to start a company because they always knew that they could be successful running a company, but then the comfortability within an organization structures and benefit coming from that stops them from going further. So what, how did you get out of that comfort zone and starting your own company, Dr. Susie, back then?
Great question. I think that's a very deep question to ask, and I think, like this phone call I was just telling you about earlier, I think it's a very deep question to embrace for someone to take on board if they've had the security of working for a company, like you say, getting all the benefits. And the company I was at, I was getting good money and good benefits. And my friend said at the time, "What are you doing? You're crazy, woman, crazy, It's a tough world out there." And I said, "I know." But it's the one word Vivian, actually, funniest enough, said there. It begins with C. It's called courage.
Courage.
It's courage. That's the emotion I know that I needed and had at the time. But I think it goes back to what we touched on here, and you said earlier in our pre-conversation, it's having that faith. It's whatever your faith is to you. There has to be a trust and a knowing that you have the courage. You have to be courageous if you're going to make these informative choices in your life. So I think to anybody that's listening to this in the future, and they're in that limbo land, and find some courage from somewhere. Find some courage to do what you believe you want to do, number one, and take it deeper. Find out what you believe you are put on this planet to do. But trust in your faith, whatever that, and that could be even an atheist faith, even if you don't believe in a God, a spirit, a higher power, whatever it is, even if you just believe in yourself, believe in yourself, believe in yourself that you can make that leap of faith, that you can dig deep and get that courage from every cell of your body if you believe you want to make a bigger difference. I think the last thing to say on that is, find the courage first yourself, but then don't make it about you. Make it about helping others. That is a far more emotive reason to move forward. Like you guys are doing on this fantastic thing that you're helping people with. You're making it about hearing people's journeys and stories to help others. You're not just doing it for the sake of doing a podcast, are you? So I think when we make it about others, we don't always get that in our 20s and not always necessarily in our 30s, but make it about others, and the journey is so much richer in emotion, not necessarily in money, but it's richer in knowing that you are living your truth and that you're living the journey that you're meant to do. I think then when we can go to our rest for this life, I lived well. I always do, not always, but sometimes I do the rocking chair test, which I'm sure you guys know about, is when you sit for, I come from a very long line of longevity of the Welsh side, and when you get to the end and we're sitting in that rocking chair with grandkids around us and everything, we can honestly say to ourselves, I lived my best life. I lived my best life and I made a difference. And it can be a small grain of sand. But that is how I want to be when I get to go to my next life, is to have that I have no regrets, that I know why I was here, and that I had that courage to grab it with full arms and learn and grow and develop.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing this powerful statement, because the moment that the moment that you chose the value to serving others, and to make it not about you but about the people that you serve. And like you say earlier, I like the word richer, the richer in here in the spiritual way, in not in terms of the money will come. It's just a
Yes.
part, if we keep doing the right thing and keep doing it with our heart, I believe always that the money side will just come eventually. So have the courage to continue.
It can be challenging along the way, but
Yeah.
you have to believe in that with your path. You have to believe, and then you work on putting your prices up and helping empower more people and going to more numbers, and there's marketing things can come into that. It can happen, but you set goals like we all know, and you set timelines and things like that, but it does come. But first of all, make it about helping others. That's the gift.
And in the spirit of courage and have faith, right? We would want you continue with how was the feeling of you having your first new client though? Do you still remember your first client and how you acquired it?
I mean, when I first started my business with 0 clients and I took that leap of faith, I went to, and you may have them out in Vietnam, we certainly have them virtually now, a networking group where you go to businesses to, tout your services if you like. So I checked out, and I was living up in the north of England then, and I went to 3 networking groups within my community to find the best one that worked for me. And I believe in setting goals. I believe in setting your outcome and what your intention is. Be intentional. It's critical to get your mind, we all heard the quote, as the man thinketh, so he becomes.
Yes.
You have to set your intention. Even the Dalai Lama and everybody have that focus, have that intention. So I walked into that room when I found it and I said, right, let's set some intentions. And I went, in 3 months' time, 2/3 of these people in this room are going to be my clients.
Wow.
And guess what? Every day I do my affirmations, my beliefs around it, they work. When I hit that goal line, if you like, I then say, right, within the next 3 months, I want 5 high net worth clients. I had no clue where they were going to come from. No clue, because I was starting on the very lower level. As I said, it was 20 odd years ago. That was when coaching and everything started, and it was so low I was charging. But I just did a big leap of faith. I guess there's a pattern in my growth development somewhere, I don't know. And I said 5 high net worth clients. And you know what? Almost to the day, I got 5 high net worth clients in the next 3 months, because one person in that room who was a client introduced me to somebody that had a very big, fast-growing business. I worked with him, and he is multi-millionaire now today, and he was beginning then. He then introduced me to very big organizations. If I name them now, you'd be impressed. And I got my 5 high net worth clients. So that again gave me the belief that if you set your intentions out and you just do everything with grace, with belief and everything, you can work towards your goals, and they come true.
Wow.
They do.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because we have a lot of a lot of listeners who wants to do their own business, and we want them to listen from you, because don't give everything halfway. Give
Yeah.
200% of what you can do, even 300%. But even if you want give 100%, it just, to me, is a halfway. So
Yeah.
give more there, and then the result will show. And if don't, like, give curiosity a little longer, and that's it.
Yeah. You've used that word a lot. Vivian's used it, you've used it, and I love it. Be curious. You're right. Because when we're curious in the world, we open up our awareness and open up our growth. So be curious about people. That shows you care. Be curious about what you can learn. Be curious about everything, even through this challenging time. I think it was as sad and as awful as it is with the people who've been through COVID, and a couple of my friends have got it right now. I think it was a good reset of the world to appreciate people, to realize what we can have. And I think it was a good reset the button. Yes, we had to go virtual. Yes, we can't travel, and I'm a traveler of life. But I think it taught us different resources. I think it taught us to be more resourceful, because I had the same as a lot of people. I was seeing face-to-face clients, and some of my clients went into meltdown. Oh my gosh, how can we exist? We have 100 people that work for us. Everybody's in the office and everybody's working from, nobody knows the working from home concept. It's never happened internationally like this. So they had to learn new muscles. It's like going to a gym, learning a new muscle. And I think that has taught people to be more resourceful. And I think if people can look back in the last 2 or 3 years with, what have I learned? That's the reflection again, reflective. What have I learned? What new things have I learned? And honestly, I think it's taught them to be better people. I genuinely believe that. And I think it's helped themselves if they choose to have their own business, or it's given them stronger.
You mentioned about a lot about learning, and another point in your life that you decided at the age 40, you went back to school for your PhD degree, and that's not easy. And that, again, it took a lot of courage to do that. What made you do the PhD when you're already successful, and then take years to school and get that? What story behind that, Dr. Susie?
That's a very great question, because like I said, I did it in my mid-40s, and it took me 4.5 years of doing 6-7 hours at weekends studying. So I was doing some of it in America, some of it here. I do online stuff, but I was working full time, as I said, with my own business. And that was Monday to Friday. And I thought, I've got to do 6-7 hours studying. The reason I did it wasn't to have a qualification, because my son halfway through said, Mom, do you realize you're going to be a doctor, have a doctorate behind you? I said, I didn't even realize that. What I was fascinated was about, again, is understanding human potential. Because I did it in psychology and neurology. It was combined PhD from America, because I really wanted to understand how people think, tick, act, behave. So it's another learning. I think 2 things how we grow as people. One is having more self-awareness, and one learning. Because, you're either learning or you're done. It's one or the other, in my opinion. So that's the main reason I did it, because I was interested in understanding more of the people I was working with. Why do people, what's the reason they do that? Why do they act like they act, And that is where I got a lot of that through that process.
Wow. So it's not about the qualification. It's not about what we put behind our name or name card, but it's about understanding the deeper in everything that we do, right?
Well, I really think if you can build, and after those intentions I put out, I built a whole business on referrals. I think that's where you don't need the qualifications. If you do a good job for somebody, whatever industry you're in, people will remember. People will say, I want to grow in that area. I want a bit of that. And then you get referred on. So the best business marketing strategy I can ever recommend, and I've walked the walk, and I think that's why a lot of people want to work with me, is because I've been there. I've been from 0 clients. I've built a business. I've worked, and I help others to build phenomenal businesses through the people. My expertise is people and mindset. And I think that is the key. If you literally can learn and grow, you're adding to your life as well as others.
That's one thing that amazing again that you did was in 2000 and 13. If correct me if I'm right. That's a book that you published.
Yes,
Yes,
we've done a bit of research.
and that's called Sat Nav for Your Soul. And I
Yeah.
try to figure out what the word Sat Nav means, and I don't understand what it is. There's no dictionary. So what is that book about, and how did you name the name like that?
Okay, I've written a couple of books. One was an ebook about stress, but thank you for that recognition. But you haven't heard the abbreviation, but you've heard the full word. It's called satellite navigation.
Satellite navigation. My best guess was I thought it's Saturday navigation. So like on the weekend, start to navigate something, but it's not.
So satellite navigation, we know what it is, GPS.
Yes.
Okay, GPS in a car or a boat, on our phone, wherever we go. GPS, what does it do? It helps us, guides us to where we want to go. So that is why I abbreviated, sat nav for the soul is satellite, and there's chapters in there about focus, energy, passion, all those things. I was going to write a couple more, but I've done so much else in other areas. The next book, if I write it, was going to be text message for the heart.
Text message for the heart.
So sat nav, satellite navigation for the soul, and the next book I was going to write a trilogy, and I may still write that, is text message for the heart, because we text every day now, whether it's on WhatsApp or messages. So satellite navigation is going to direct us, and text message for the heart is we need to get some realizations in our heart.
Wow.
And the heart is the biggest giving organ of our body to ourselves and to others.
Wow.
So that would have been my second book, and maybe it still will be, but that was how I got that thinking around that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Susie. Dr. Susie, I'd like to ask you this question. From everywhere that I see your presence, it's always a great vibe of energies. Okay, and we as human beings, it's hard for us to keep to maintain that upbeat and sharing the energies around. How could you do that? Can you teach us so that we can learn from you, and we can have the strength and the muscle so that we can continue giving the energies around to people else?
Great question, and maybe we can end on this unless you've got anything else. But I think why I have so much energy is because there are two things that I feel underpin energy. One is passion. You've said it a lot, huh?
Yes.
Passion. You have to have passion for what you do. And the second thing to go hand in hand with that is fun. I think if we really love doing what we do, we have a blessed family and friends. I truly think those two together, yes, we can have challenging times, days, moments, but we must move on. I've just done another coaching call before I was on the call with here, and this lady was sitting with sadness and grief because she lost one of her best friends and she lost a dog. And I said, yes, sadness is important to feel and to experience. But one thing we have to do is let go, learning when to let go. And I got her to stand up, I got her to shake it all off, I got her to bring energy into her body. So when I work with clients who are depressed or don't know where they're going in life or have some health challenges, the first things I change is do some movement, get some energy into our bodies. Because when we go to the gym or when we go for a walk or when we swim, like you said, it's the muscle, we feel good. The feel-good endorphins kick in, don't they? And we feel good in ourselves. So just by standing up and doing 10 jumping jacks or whatever it is, we have more energy because we're energetic human beings. We are made, every atom in our cells radiates and connects with each other. So that's where I believe my energy is always good. I sleep very good. I make sure I have 7-8 hours sleep a night. My health regime is very good. I'm very disciplined. I go to the gym and swim every morning. Not gym every morning, but I swim every morning. So I get my exercise in. I eat well and I think well. Journey. So I think if you put all those things together, we know sleep's important. We know eating the right foods is important. We know being with the right people, because we can be with people who drain our energy. We know this. And all those things, and exercise is a must. You must find something that, because we are a physical human being, that recharges those cells. I think if you add all that together, my habits, my daily rituals, I've worked on and I've put into play, and that keeps my energy. life.
Wow. Thank I promise a friend not to say thank you anymore, but to say I appreciate, and then start with the rest of that. So I appreciate the wisdom that you share. I'm truly a believer of having passion with fun, because having passion is sad but not fun, then nobody gonna follow you. And then having fun without passion, then the journey will be empty at the end of it, because
Right.
after fun there's nothing. So having passion with fun, we feel the energy, we feel the people to join the journey together and get the people onto together. We make the journey a lot more meaningful. And Dr. Susie, thank you so much for no, sorry, I appreciate your joining and sharing your story. It's amazing, it's fascinating to a lot of audience, and to me and Vivian. There's a lot of things that we take it personal, for personal learning and sharing with our home, because I believe that if we can build a better home, then we can build a better family, a better community. Everything starts within us first, and then we can start to transfer outside. So we appreciate everything that you shared today, and we really admire of everything that you got. Everything that you have been doing, and it's fascinating. It's fantastic.
I'm just, I think you can say thank you to people, because I think very few people get the words thank you sometimes. So I think it's a positive thing. That's just my take. We all see the world differently. I'm very blessed that you asked me, both of you, Vivian and Har, you asked me. And we've connected for a reason. We've started this journey. You've invited me to Vietnam. That's on my adventure list. Like I said, I've invited you back to the UK. It's the start of connection journey, whether it's virtual now, who knows in person. But like you said, and I think that will end on that, it's the ripple effect. You want to make a better life for you two. You want to share that with Jackie. You want to share it with your community, online, offline, everything like that. And I think the ripple effect of how you can help people is profound, is deeply profound. So I look forward to future connections with you both.
We do.
And,
We do too.
and I'm always here, to reach out and share, and just share some of your journey with me whenever.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you very much. You have a
I
wonderful
love
weekend, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
It's Friday
Yep.
evening. You go and have a fantastic weekend, and we will definitely connect soon.
Sure. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye. Bye bye bye.
Thank you.